Welcome back to Papa's Home, where today I'm getting my solar panels cleaned. It's something that Tesla, who installed my solar panels, recommends that I do on a regular basis. Last year in October of 2020, we had a number of fires, and Tesla sent me this. We recommend cleaning your solar panels regularly to generate up to 15% more solar energy. Due to the ongoing California wildfires, your panels may be covered in additional dust or ash residue, which can affect solar production. Now, admittedly, I ignored their suggestion because I already get them cleaned every year. Now that it's June and we're nearing the peak of summer, they'll be cleaned by Adam from Premier Solar Cleaning. You'll get a chance to hear from him and what his company does and why he thinks it's important to clean them on a regular basis. Afterwards, I'll share some of my thoughts and show you what kind of an impact the cleaning had on my solar power generation. With that, let's hear what Adam has to say.
My name is Adam Fuller. My company is Premier Solar Cleaning, and what we do is clean and protect solar systems after install date. When we arrive to the residence, we connect to a source of water and we filter the water through a deionized filtration system inside the van. We take that up top and it is delivered across the panels through a water-fed pole, much like what window cleaners use, soft bristle brush, and we agitate and release the dirt off the panels, scrubbing them down to get everything off the surface. It's important to clean the solar panels because the layer of dirt and grime on top is actually keeping the light rays from getting into the solar cells. So anything on top acts like a blanket, keeping heat into the panels, which is not what we want because a cooler panel runs more efficient. When that dust and dirt layer is laying on top of the panels, it reflects the light out. Rain's usually not enough because it's not a heavy enough pressure or downforce to knock a lot of the saturation loose. It might remove the lightest layers of dust, but when you have factors as we do in the Los Angeles area, the smog is oil-based. So when that oil sticks to the panel, the dust then sticks to the oil, but the water coming from the rain is not going to be enough to loosen those much stickier substances. We service all of Southern California, and the prices we charge dictate on how many panels the house has or the residence, and whether it's a one-story or two-story. We also do commercial, but these are on a case-by-case basis because of the number of panels difference. And in a residential situation, we don't have to bring water to the job site. Our prices are anywhere from $8 to $10 per panel, and then we give a discount for anybody who has over 30 panels on one residence. We do the before and after pictures because most people are not able to view the surface of their panels, or the angle that they see the panels at is completely different than somebody standing directly over the panels. We like to show people the drastic difference, just simply showing you how much soiling there is on top of the panels. People should consider cleaning them at least once a year, and sometimes even as often as 2 or 3 times a year, just depending on the environment around how the panels situate.
You're not a burglar?
Some of the long-term benefits to cleaning the solar panels is it slows down the process of degradation, where the panels stay at their higher efficiency for a longer period of time.
What we're looking at here is actually 2 rows of solar panels in series. So what you're noticing the camera is focused on is a hotspot registering 97.8 Fahrenheit. This panel is significantly brighter than both the ones to the left and right and below it. What that is showing us is that there's something going on in this panel. A visual inspection just with our eyes shows us nothing on the surface.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it looks normal.
It looks completely normal. This is the reason why somebody without this technology would not be able to see something going on and say, hey, your system looks A-OK. that camera shows something completely different.
From this photo, you can tell that that panel is generating way more heat compared to the other ones.
Yes.
And that there might be an issue, but we don't know yet.
Yes.
Is this one of my panels or just another customer?
This is just another customer I've had within the last 2 weeks. The numbers on either inverter or an app, however they look at it, won't show something like this.
Got it.
And we're looking over the entire system plus panel to panel.
Is this like before you did the cleaning?
This is before the cleaning. 97 degrees isn't hot, but the fact that all the other panels next to it are usually a lot lower. This is actually one more panel still on that same one, but this is a panel with a strike. So something like a rock or something had hit it. And what you're seeing is where the strike point, and you can kind of see that there's a shadow effect. So the other one had not shattered, and you can see how the image is completely different. So they actually have two panels of about a 28 panel system that are not putting out what they could be putting out.
Gotcha.
So this is something that the homeowner wants to know since they cannot see their panels.
I think another thing homeowners want to know about is how the cleaning affects solar generation. Before I share my thoughts and go through the data, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, and it's the best way you can support the channel. And if you have any comments or questions, please be sure to share that below. So, here's my final thoughts on all this. Both Tesla and Adam recommend getting the solar panels cleaned at least once a year. That way the system's always performing at its best. But depending on your environment and how dirty the panels get, you may want to consider getting them cleaned more frequently. I also really like how clean and shiny the panels look once the work is done. I know that's a weird thing to be excited about, but I take pride in my home. I also really appreciate looking at the thermal photos every year. So far I haven't seen any panels that stand out, which means that my system's probably running just fine. Now when I look at the raw data, the near-term benefits aren't that obvious. What we're looking at here is my solar generation for the week before the cleaning. You can see that the all-time high is 42.5, and then towards the end it starts to trail off, and I'm guessing it was overcast on those days. Now this is the week that I had the cleaning done. You'll notice that the low was 34, and when I go to Friday, which was the day before I had the cleaning done, I generated 42.7 kilowatt hours, and the very next day I generated 43.4, so not that big of a difference. But let's take a look at the next week. Here you can see the following Monday, I generated even less power, and really that's just because it's been cloudy lately. But as we look at some of the other days, we can see that the high was actually closer to 48 kilowatt hours. So definitely a lot more power than the past 2 weeks, which had a peak around 34 kilowatt hours. But let's take a look at the data for last year. When I look at the data throughout 2020, I can see that I'm naturally generating more energy in the summer months, and that's because the panels are getting more exposure to the sun. So this is a call out that it's kind of hard to compare the energy production before and after the cleaning. What I can say is that I've been generating about the same amount of electricity every year. 2017 was the year that I had the panels installed, and that was really only for a couple months. So what we're really looking at is 2018, 2019, and 2020. And between the three, you can see that they're basically within 200 kilowatt hours of each other, so really not that big of a difference. And really, I think this is partially due to the fact that I get them cleaned regularly. Perhaps if I waited 5 years before getting them cleaned, I might notice a pretty dramatic difference. So if you have solar panels and never had them cleaned, please share in the comments below how much energy you've been generating each year. I'm really curious to see if you noticed a significant loss in power generation over time. And if you do end up getting them cleaned later, make sure to share those results as well. I think everyone's use case is going to be a little bit different depending on where you live and the environment around you. So I'm really interested in those differences. So here's the question. Should you get your solar panels cleaned? I think it's something that you have to decide for yourself. I get them cleaned every year just before summertime, and that works pretty well for me. You might even be thinking about what it takes to do this kind of work yourself, and that's okay. If you prefer to get them cleaned professionally and live in the Southern California area, I'm going to put Adam's information in the description below. I'll make sure to include a link to his website so you can get more information about the process and pricing information. And as always, I hope you learned a lot from this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for stopping by.